Hi guys, welcome to The Goods. I'm Terrence, and filling in for Manny, who's obviously not here on set, is our official fourth member of The Goods today, Art Chicheri. Say hi, Art.
Hi, Art.
All right, so we definitely have a good show for you guys. Format's gonna stay the same pretty much, but we're gonna try to do things a little bit different since we have somebody new on the show, new people, new things we're doing. But as always, here are the goods. All right, so the first thing, as always, we talk box office, and this weekend pretty much kind of sucked. There was really no big films that came out this weekend. Obviously, we still have at number one, Fate and Furious. It brought in about 19.3 million, still sitting at number one. I believe this is third or fourth week that it's been sitting at number one. No competition. I mean,
I actually did see it this weekend.
You did see it this weekend. How'd you feel about it?
I finally gave in and saw it, and man, was I not disappointed how crappy it was going to be.
Really, you had no high hopes for this film?
No. I mean, the whole premise of the movie was, you know, street racers, and all of a sudden they became elite hackers in the world.
Well, they became all that stuff like
being able to take on the trained assassins and trained Green Berets or special forces, and beating them with a freaking wrench. And come on.
They got The Rock now. So they can do anything now.
That was Vin Diesel that took on Jason Statham.
But he did well. Yeah.
And he found him in the parking lot.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's Vin Diesel too. I mean, it's Riddick.
Yeah. And all of
Hercules.
And all of a sudden, Dwayne Johnson. His character becomes like a superhero with like unbelievable strength, and in the first two he didn't have that.
Did you not watch Hercules?
Well, I guess he evolved, right? He was like a Super Saiyan. He was a Super Saiyan by the time
The Rock can do anything. How dare you doubt what he does on screen? He can do anything.
Man, my favorite two, The Fast and the Furious and Tokyo Drift.
All right, well, I'm glad that your favorite is Tokyo Drift, because that is one of our You Don't Hates, which will be releasing pretty soon, if it hasn't already released by the time we air this film. The other ones that actually rolled out in the top five, like I said, not much was really out there. How to Be a Latin Lover surprisingly came in at number two. That one actually brought in $12 million.
That one looked interesting.
It did look interesting, but I just didn't think that it would actually move to number two.
No, that's surprising, actually.
And when you hear the rest, you'll actually understand why that one was number two. Because number three was Bahubali 2. The Conclusion. I didn't know there was a Bahubali 1, but there was, and this is the sequel to it, and that one actually brought in 10.1 million. Coming in at number 4 was The Circle, Art's favorite movie. That brought in 9.3 million, and you were actually able to go out and see this one.
Yes.
What did you think about it?
I wanted my money back within the first 45 minutes.
Really? 45 minutes into the movie and you were done?
The dialogue was extremely forced.
Okay.
There was no chemistry between the actors. It just felt very dry, and they moved along the movie so quickly that you never really got to develop any of the characters. It just seemed as if this movie was just hurry up. I understand it was based on a novel, but at least in the book, if you're going to spend 2 hours in the movie, you should at least develop one of your characters, and we just never got that out of it.
So that whole buildup they gave us with like social media meets hackers meets enemy of the state type deal, that didn't play out in this film?
No, it seemed too canned. Immediately, you already knew within the first 15 minutes that the Circle was a bad entity, and it was blatantly obvious what they were trying to do, yet nobody in that universe knew what was happening.
I mean, circles have not got us anything. I mean, nothing good has ever come out of a circle. I mean,
I was gonna say my wedding, but I didn't wear my wedding ring today.
Well,
I was at the gym.
Boo you.
That was the only good
Becky. All right, so after The Circle, filling in at number 5 was actually Boss Baby, still hanging in there at
really?
Yeah, top
interesting.
5. This movie has stayed in the top 5 probably for like over a month now. It is one because its only competition was the Smurfs, and nobody went to go see the Smurfs. So this movie
that was in there for like a week, and then they took it out of the box.
It made. Well, I didn't even write down how much it made because I was so surprised that it was still in the top 5.
Either way, it's still in there.
It's still making money. So I will say, I mean, that was the top 5 for this week. I mean, we're going to roll into next week, and the big one for next week is actually Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is actually already released internationally, and it actually has already opened to $101 million internationally. And that's pretty big, seeing that it hasn't, I don't believe it's open in every market out there, and it still hasn't opened here in the United States, where basically we love comic book movies. But one of the key things about that $101 million that's already racked up so far is that it actually pushes the MCU to $11 billion made so far.
Wow.
That is a crazy amount for a franchise. Marvel is just raking in the money. What do you think?
For all those people that made fun of me when I was in high school for liking Marvel, this goes to show you the entire world likes Marvel.
No, they do. And I'll tell you how much the entire world likes Marvel.
$11 billion, obviously.
Well, I mean, you can't take away from that. But Vin Diesel knows how much the world loves the MCU. He actually has 2 ideas for a Groot spinoff movie. Now, this is something that James Gunn has actually been talking about as far as doing a Rocket and Groot spinoff. And Vin Diesel has 2 things that he wants. He didn't really detail what those 2 ideas was, but he was like, look, I got 2 ideas because I want to keep making money in the MCU.
I mean, he's trying to ride that way. I would too. But I mean, how far are you going to get with I Am Groot?
I mean, you're going to need $11 billion with I Am Groot. And you also get last weekend $101 million by saying I Am Groot in a high-pitched tone, which luckily for him, they still got to use his voice when doing it. But I mean, to me, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of those franchise where the source material doesn't matter because nobody really read that comic book. But knowing that, based on what they've given you of these characters going forward with the I Am Groot and Rocket and Bradley playing Rocket, do you really want to see them transition into their own film?
No.
Really?
Yeah, and I say that because what I'm afraid is going to happen is they're going to keep on just trying to make too many spin-offs. I love the fact how there's already a story, a timeline, and fans and the hardcore fans are really keeping up with the timeline. Oh, we got this one building up, and everything's coming up to the Infinity Wars right now. I understand later on if they want to do the spin-offs. I would just hate to break off because everything's building up to the Infinity Wars.
Okay. I would think that if they do something like this, it would be something that they're going to plan for maybe Phase 5 and stuff like that. They already got stuff planned for Phase 4. It's them still thinking about like, okay, when we run out of these movies, what are we gonna do to still bring in billions and billions? We got to get to 20 billion.
Let's milk every inch, every drop that we can.
Hey, look,
milk it.
It's owned by Disney, and they're already milking Star Wars. So why not milk Marvel?
Don't ruin another one for me, please, Disney, please.
All right, so transitioning out of Marvel, one of the films that had got a lot of buzz, or at least the premise of a film that got a lot of buzz late last year and even coming into early this year was the Neil Blomkamp, I hope I said his name right, his sequel to Aliens in Aliens 5. He had put out some artist renderings of showing Sigourney Weaver and bringing back what was the Space Marine? I can't remember his name. God, it's I'm gonna put it down.
Bishop.
Yeah, it was Bishop, wasn't it? Yeah. All right, so bringing them back and bringing back Newt, he had put out a lot of drawings, and the internet just kind of went crazy. And it was like, wow, we get to see a true successing movie that would follow after Aliens. Alien Covenant was announced, and I think that one got a lot more buzz than was expected, because Ridley Scott says Alien 5 ain't happening. And the reason why he says Alien 5 is not happening is because they only gave him ideas in a rough draft of a script. He said there was never an actual script. So how do you feel about Alien 5 not actually making it? Did you see any of the artist renderings?
No, I did not.
So you had no excitement about Alien 5 coming out.
I thought the Alien series was dead until Prometheus came out.
And people still thought the Alien series was dead when Prometheus came out.
But I was, I'm a sci-fi fan, and I love just going off in different universes and going off and really exploring things that you hadn't gotten to see before.
Okay.
And with just Prometheus really just set a new fire for new fans,
right? And
even old fans, like, oh, something different. It gave us a backstory as opposed to future,
and it gave us a Scooby-Doo ending with the ship and nobody knowing how to move out of the way of the ship. But it did do something else. It did other things differently.
Yeah. It's like, no, it's running after me. Then you just turn right. But yeah, nobody just runs straight.
Nobody turns right.
Yeah.
So I mean, so you weren't excited about Aliens 5 coming out. You were more excited about what they were actually doing in the prequels.
Yes.
All right. So so this one doesn't bother you at all.
When you first mentioned it, at first I'm like, oh, really? Come on, what else are they gonna do? But it's actually interesting because there'd be an entire new generation growing up with aliens. You know, we're a little older.
All right.
Not old, just older. So we grew up already with certain alien movies, and Predators versus Aliens, I think, if anything, push fans away.
Well, it gave them what they wanted. We always wanted an Aliens versus Predators. The game was awesome. The game was awesome. The comic book was awesome.
Yeah.
The movie just wasn't.
The movie wasn't there.
No.
But now that I think about it, man, it'd be kind of interesting to see a new generation growing up, because you can base it pretty much, create all new characters, create a new storyline, and just go from there. Still use the existing past.
Yeah.
But build something new.
Hey, well, guess what? Ain't happened. We're sticking to prequels with Ridley Scott.
You know what? We're not. Don't get your,
Speaking of sequels, one of the surprise hits of this year, I believe it came out this year, was Split with James McAvoy.
Such an amazing movie.
And if you've seen Split, I'm sorry, my spoiler warning is going up now. At the end of Split, we got to find out that it actually tied into the Unbreakable movie. So just recently announced by, and this is maybe a little bit behind when we're covering this, but what just recently announced is that M. Night Shyamalan says that he's going to do a sequel called Glass, which is actually going to be the sequel to Unbreakable and Split. So
okay,
yeah. So what he actually listed is that everybody will be returning from Unbreakable. So we're gonna get everybody.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. We're gonna get James McAvoy. We're gonna get Samuel Jackson. Everybody's coming back, and somehow we're gonna tie them together in this. I wasn't a fan of the comic. I actually didn't even know it was a comic book film until after the movie had come out and it had done so well, where people were like, "Oh, it was based on a comic book." Yeah. How do you think they're going to tie this together? I mean, because you've seen Split, right?
Yes.
And you've seen Unbreakable. How does this tie together besides saying Samuel L. Jackson is going to be the puppet master with McAvoy with his body morphosis?
Well, the thing about Unbreakable and Split was that it made it, I'm not going to say believable, but they put real world settings. It wasn't anything magical. It wasn't anything where it really, come on, a flying person, right? It's something that they try to explain through science and through, how comic books came to be. So it'd be pretty interesting to see new characters being developed. A young person, maybe Bruce Willis, becomes a mentor for someone.
Maybe his son?
Maybe his son. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if it's genetic. There's so many possibilities. So I like this. I'm actually pretty excited. What I don't want to see is just, Bruce Willis versus James McAvoy.
And that's exactly what I thought this was going to happen. And I was like, are we going to see old Bruce Willis versus young James McAvoy with Samuel L. Jackson in the corner going, kill that motherfucker? Are we going to see that? That's what I was worried about. I was like, this movie's not going to
I don't want him to be Don King in this movie. No,
exactly.
no.
All right, so, I mean, but you're really excited about seeing this film if what it actually is going to come out.
She's
because
raising her hand. I don't know, does that mean
I'm sorry,
something?
Aspen. Yes.
Y'all do know that Unbreakable and Split and this new one is actually one movie, right?
Yes. That's what I said. It's Glass, and it's going to cover, it's basically the sequel to both the films.
Yeah.
So it's going to merge.
He just said it earlier.
I wrote it on the card.
Said it earlier?
I wrote it on the card.
You did? Okay.
I read it verbatim.
Because when I
Yeah, somebody wasn't paying attention to the show.
No, I was listening, but I missed that part because when Split came out, I was confused.
This is exactly like when Manny's here, because this conversation happens when he's here too.
Okay? I didn't know, because I feel like M. Night Shyamalan is basically Quentin Tarantino without the F-bombs.
Except with the bad twist.
Yeah.
Because he went on a roll of bad twist movies.
That became his shtick. That became his shtick, and that was like, oh, it just like.
But that's what made him flop. That's why he.
Well, you could.
Except when we twisted it at the end of Split and everybody loved it. They just lapped it up like.
I don't think so much it was a twist. I don't think it was a twist. It was more of a surprise. Like, hey guys, this is surprise. This is tied into this, and this is what we're doing. It wasn't a twist.
No,
where
his twist in the movie was the fact that we found out that the father was molesting her, or the uncle was molesting her.
Yeah.
That was a twist. That's a twist.
That is a typical story.
That's a typical story.
Yes, that is a typical.
We didn't talk about your uncle relationship here.
Okay, you live in America. Nothing like this is surprising anymore.
Oh, well, true.
Like, it's just a thing. Like, maybe it's because I'm a writer. I'm so desensitized to everything that's like harsh because I'm just, I don't know.
We live in a land of sunshine and flowers. Don't be messing that up.
Nah, I got a cloud over my head every day.
All right. Moving on after Aspen brought the room down.
Continue.
It was a high. We were on a high, and Joe was like, woo.
Sorry.
Down.
Yeah, don't raise your hand anymore.
So, raise my hands.
Speaking of things dark and gritty, Logan is getting a black and white release, which is one of the best films to be coming out. Not specifically in the MCU, but just as a Marvel film. Definitely one of the best Wolverine movies to be released out of the whole trilogy. And because it was so good, the dark, gritty nature of that film and how, I mean, the darkness and the brutality that was going on into it, they figured, let's amp that up by making it black and white. So what I wanted to see is, well, first let me tell you a little bit about it. It's actually only getting a one-night screening. It's actually going to be screened this coming May 16th. It's based on a collaboration between Alamo Drafthouse and 20th Century Fox.
Oh, interesting.
They're going to do the screening. It's going to be in multiple places. But one of the key points of after the screening is everybody who goes to see it, they can submit a hashtag or submit questions through a hashtag. And after the film, they're going to do a live stream of questions and answers with James Mangold.
Really?
Yeah, that's an awesome little twist that they do for that. It'll get you out of the house and go out to go and see it again, and be bummed out in Aspen's world.
Apparently not bummed out. Apparently that's the world that she lives in.
That she lives in. Yeah. But how do you feel about the black and white release of Logan?
I love it. It just adds another layer. Look, if you didn't like it or if you're not pumped about the black and white, it's cool because they're only doing it one night.
Yeah, they're only doing it one night.
And so the fans that loved it, or the fans that, the artsy fartsy fans that, like, oh, I'd like to see a black and white film of this, right?
Let's see an indie film in black and white.
Let me smoke my cigarette. You want to be out there and it's just bringing out the really, what I want to say, the hardcore fans. The fans that, I'm not going to say I'm a hardcore Logan fan. I'm not. But I love the film. And I can't wait to see it. I'd like to see how it looks in black and white. Worst that happens, I fall asleep in it.
Very true. That is the worst that happens. That is the absolute worst that could happen in that film. All right, moving on.
I'm being honest. I know one of you at least agrees with me.
Yes.
Comment if you do.
Please do. All right, moving on, changing it up a little bit because I have no good segue for this. One of the things, one of the movies that was a surprise hit, and I guess we'll think of Logan as it was a surprise hit, because especially after what happened with Origins and then a little bit pickup with
it wasn't
Wolverine,
what people were expecting, yet
for
it was
Logan to be one of those films that, hey, it was something we really did. We thought we were just going to end it off, say goodbye to Hugh Jackman, and just kind of wrap up this franchise. Well, another franchise that was a surprise hit was Jurassic Park, and another character, Jurassic World, and another character who we thought we had wrapped up with and just was done with it in the franchise was Jeff Goldblum. He is returning to Jurassic World. I guess not returning to the Jurassic Park franchise, and he'll be featured in Jurassic World. They haven't actually detailed if he'll be returning back as Malcolm, the character that he played
come back as Malcolm.
And Jurassic Park 1 and 2. I mean, he doesn't always have to come back as Malcolm. They could just kind of do a weird timeline, just call him a different character.
No.
Do it up
come
for
back
the fans.
As Malcolm.
He has to come back as Malcolm. He has to come back as Malcolm. So my question to you, since he has to come back as Malcolm, does he still have a mixed race child? Will we be seeing his daughter that was featured in Jurassic Park 2 in Jurassic World? Because this movie, Jurassic World, took place after the first Jurassic Park. They almost kind of Rocky 5'd it and said that 2 and 3 didn't really exist, or maybe they do exist, but we haven't got to them, and then Tokyo drifted like the Fast and the Furious. We just haven't gotten to that particular set of movies yet. So
just because they didn't talk about what happened doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen in that story.
True.
They just talked about that park was a disaster, and that's why, you know, don't take it lightly. Some people died.
So would you feel that this actually could take place after Jurassic Park 2 or even Jurassic Park 3?
Let me do my best Jeff Goldblum impersonation. Definitely going to be a great one. Now, if you really think about the movie. I mean, when you Jeff Goldblum impersonation, folks.
I mean, if you think about all the white hair that he has, unless they're going to Tarkin him and CGI,
he won't be fast, so he can't escape, right?
Oh, he will definitely be eaten by the dinosaurs. So it can't technically take place before 2 because he'll be older.
Yeah.
He'll definitely be older. So we will see a mixed race child daughter that he has.
You know what? I have a mixed race child.
One of the things that I was thinking about too is Sam Neill. I mean, if Jeff Goldblum can make a return back to this franchise, will we see a cameo from Sam Neill?
He was kind of forgotten.
Will we see a cameo from the kids who didn't somehow die in this park, but yet...
Yeah, they should be traumatized and be seeing counselors for what happened to them.
They're all in an insane asylum because of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. And then also, too, will we see Samuel Jackson? Because technically, we never saw conclusively. He was dead.
He's been surviving on the island.
No. We saw one black arm. Are you trying to say that they only hired one black employee? Why does that have to be Samuel Jackson's arm? They only hired one black. It was like, oh wait, it's a black arm. That's Samuel Jackson. No, it's just a black arm.
It was in Costa Rica. They're racist.
All right. So, I mean, would you be happy to see, since this franchise wants to bring back Jeff Goldblum, would you be happy to see that they brought everybody back?
It'd be interesting. I'd like to see them bring back a few and really tie it in because their roles in the first 2. 3 or 4, really. Their roles in the first film. I mean, they were experts. They were brought in because they were the experts in what they were doing. So why not bring the experts back?
Very true. Even though those experts really didn't do anything in the first movie. Even in their own individual sequels, they really didn't do anything but survive.
Turn off the lights.
They got up in the high thing, and Sam Neill had dreams on airplanes about raptors talking to him. It was the worst moment of Jurassic Park. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, no.
That's it. It's like he blocked it out. There's a scene where in Jurassic Park 3.
I gotta see it again. Where
the raptor talks to him. He has this dream, and the raptor is like talking to him. It's so weird. It's so weird.
I don't even remember. Do you remember that? I think it's just you.
It happened. It's totally. I'm gonna put the clip up.
Somebody was tripping.
I'm totally gonna put the clip up. You'll see. You guys will see.
Just like while you watched that movie, didn't you?
Well, yeah, it was a young age for me. I did a lot of things. I did a lot of things I wasn't proud of back then. Well, you know, since we're all happy to see Jeff Goldblum back to the Jurassic Park franchise, it got me thinking, what are some of our top 5 Jeff Goldblum films? Because this man has been in a lot of great films out there. A lot of films. We looked at his IMDb list, and like the dude was like in a bunch of films you would have never thought that he was really in. So, now's our top 5. And we're back! And Manny's not here, so...
There's no Flash.
And no Substance. Alright, so this week's top 5 is the top 5 Jeff Goldblum films. Now, normally, Manny would be here and he would say, Terrence! So
take it away.
I'm gonna say, Art! Go first.
Alright. Jeff Goldblum has been in a lot of films. A lot. Sadly, not all of them has he been the main character.
Right.
Maybe it's because he doesn't have the acting chops. Which I think he does.
You shut your mouth.
You shut your dirty mouth when you're speaking to me. But perhaps he just doesn't have that, leading character good looks. Like my man Terrence over here.
I mean, I do.
Yeah. Or maybe he doesn't.
Or maybe I do.
So I'm gonna name my favorite top 5.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Number 5.
Number 5, Jeff Goldblum films. Number 5, Holy Man.
What?
What's
I'm
wrong
sorry.
with Holy Man?
Go ahead. Tell me how Holy Man is in your top 5.
Jeff Goldblum. First, I think he played well off of Eddie Murphy. I think they played well off.
That's Eddie Murphy's worst film, by the way.
Worst film? No, there's a lot more.
But we're talking about the greatness of Jeff Goldblum in this film. Please tell me more.
The way, him and Eddie Murphy seem to have good chemistry in the movie.
They did. Okay, I'll give him that.
It wasn't. This is Jeff Goldblum's moment. All right, don't take it away. Why you want to turn about Eddie Murphy?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please go on.
There you go. I'm ready to walk out, folks, but not for you all. I'll stay. So Jeff Goldblum, he played well off of Eddie Murphy, and it gave him moments where you're like, oh, you know what? I like this guy. He really stands out in this movie. He wasn't a side character who was just adding something, and it wasn't Eddie Murphy carrying the film. I felt these two movies, they really played well off of each other. So that's why number 5.
All right, I will not question it. Number 4.
Number 4. Independence Day Resurgence.
What the hell? Oh my God! I hate your list already.
I hate those pants you're wearing, but I ain't arguing that either. So,
go on, please tell me Independence Resurgence.
Why? Because he picked up exactly where he left off in the first one. He did. It wasn't as if like he redid his character all over again. It wasn't where he was like freaking all of a sudden he's this amazing fighter and can do all these things. It's just, he was just a smart, nerdy guy, and he picked up where he was going off. He played off of it, and he did well.
Okay.
He didn't surprise you. He didn't surprise you in that film with anything. He just picked up where it just flowed seamlessly.
But when we do Independence Resurgence, the You Don't Hate, I want you to be here for that.
Sure. I didn't hate it. I loved it.
Number 3. Number 3.
The Fly.
What? The Fly is number 3?
The Fly is number 3.
Holy crap.
The Fly is number 3.
I can't wait to hear your number 2 and 1.
You already know. He doesn't have that many where he's a leading role.
All right, so The Fly. Tell us about the greatness of The Fly.
Greatness of The Fly. Oh, come on. But let's just be honest.
All right.
In The Fly, the reason why it's not number 1 or 2, obviously we know that it's in his top 2, is because he just wasn't like the lead character where you're like, oh, this is the main guy. It was like The Fly was the main character.
I mean, The Fly was okay. So and it
wasn't as if he was like, you could feel he wasn't conveying. I don't know what she's doing down there, but she's doing a role.
Ooh, cut that out.
Interrupting it.
Continue on, sir. Tell us about The Fly.
So in The Fly, it wasn't as if when you watch it, and those of you that have not seen it in years, go back and rewatch it.
That's a great movie, actually.
Go back and rewatch it. It wasn't as if he drew you into this character and you were struggling with him through all this. It was The Fly. You were just waiting to see what was going to happen with The Fly.
Right.
But ultimately, I like The Fly. He did well.
No, he did great in The Fly. It's one of those films that can't be.
Yeah, we know it's in your 1 or 2, obviously.
It is. It is yet to be determined, sir. Number 2.
All right, number 2, Independence Day.
Independence Day, the first Independence Day.
Yeah, the first Independence Day.
Resurgence film.
No,
on your list.
no. We're going off of the film, not the movie. All right.
He did a great.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
So for me, obviously, without a doubt, and number 1, Jurassic Park.
Whoa, we just jumped right to number 1.
Yeah. I want to talk about number 1 for just a moment.
Wow, your number 1 is Jurassic Park.
Yes.
I'm so surprised on that. I wouldn't expect it to have been Jurassic Park, especially
because what other movie can a mathematician who specializes or is an expert in chaos theory all of a sudden is the guy that you're cheering and rooting for? Usually that's the guy that gets killed in the first film.
That is.
In the beginning of the movie, that's generally, aside from Samuel L. Jackson got died.
I mean, if he was black, he would definitely be killed.
Everybody talks about Samuel L. Jackson being the only black man. How come the only Mexicans were the ones that were doing all the... Well, Costa
I think they survived.
Right?
They survived.
They survived, right? We survived. My gente. Mi gente.
So number 1 is Jurassic Park.
Park.
So that is a very good top 5 list, minus your ID Resurgence and your Holy. This is a great top 3. I appreciate your top 3 list.
Holy
sir.
Man is not in there?
Can we see your list? Can we see your list? Can we see this? My top 5.
All right.
All right, so my top 5 Jeff Goldblum films. Number 5, Earth Girls Are Easy.
What?
So you just had Holy Man in your list.
Yes.
Earth Girls Are Easy was a great introduction to Jeff Goldblum. You got to see more of his comedic side. A lot of things with Jeff Goldblum is that he always plays the smart, nerdy, particular person who kind of knows it all.
Well,
like
he was. Look at his commercials about freaking apartments. Yes, he is the nerdy guy.
And then, yeah, he is. I mean, that's really who his nature. But in this particular movie, he was something different. He was an awkward alien, and he was more comedic.
Okay.
And his comedy is normally like the smart, nerdy comedy. So like this one, it was more kind of a little practical and like just like really bringing out like why it would be awkward for an alien to have sex with regular people. That's an awkward movie, but it was a good movie. It was a fun movie, and I love that
having
movie.
sex as a human with when I used to.
When you used to have sex with humans.
Well, I mean, I only have sex with one human now.
Number 4. Number 4. Deep Cover with Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
But he wasn't so much. Do you think he was the leading man?
He was. He played awful. We talked about Holy Man, and you.
Hold on. He wasn't like he didn't carry that movie.
Look, he was the smart. Look, it was the.
Did he carry the movie?
Yes, he was the criminal of this movie, and it was.
Did he carry the movie?
It was Lawrence Fishburne's movie.
Even Deadpool disagreed.
It was Lawrence Fishburne's movie. But you know what? It would not have worked without Jeff Goldblum's character.
I strongly disagree.
Nobody else could have played that character the way that he played that character. I think it was a great job. I think one, to see him as a villain, because we rarely ever see that for Jeff Goldblum. Only movie I can think of that he's ever been a villain. I think it was
Guardians of the Galaxy. That's post credits, right?
It was really reminiscent of a movie called King of New York. With Christopher Walken.
Yes.
It was very reminiscent of that type of movie, and King of New York obviously preceded it by quite a bit, but this was probably at that time was the nowadays King of New York, and that's why I like that movie so much. All right, okay. So we're gonna move on. Number 3, Jurassic Park 2. I knew it.
Oh my God!
Lost World, baby. Jurassic Park 2, Lost World. The movie this is all his whole movie. First Jurassic Park, he's sidelined on a freaking bench. He got hurt like 15 minutes into the movie. You can't call that his movie, but you can call his movie is Lost World. It was totally his movie. He had sex with black people and had mixed race children. He totally took over the movie.
What? So because he had sex with a black person, so if we'd have had sex with a Mexican girl,
he'd have mixed race children anyway, and I would still love his children.
He likes to bend booties.
No, but this movie was totally his. We were talking about movies where he actually was.
No, you're right. You're right. Jurassic. The only thing is Jurassic
was
Park
not his movie. That was Sam Neill's movie.
Yeah.
This movie was his.
Yeah, but this movie didn't really showcase any of his acting.
And he wasn't hurt on the sideline.
Did it push his character any? His acting chops? Did they carry the movie?
Yes.
No, the movie.
The whole movie was carried by him.
Just wanted to see what the freaking dinosaurs were gonna do.
No, you know what else in there? People don't even remember Vince Vaughn was in this movie. You know why? Because Jeff Goldblum outshined him so much in this movie. That's how you don't even remember Vince Vaughn.
Because the dinosaurs outshined everybody. You're like, dinosaurs in LA? What? That's unheard of. Even though geographically they would have to have gone through a lot of other things.
They were still on an island, sir. Number 2. My number 2 is The Fly. And he was right. It was in my top 2. But number 2 is The Fly. Not because of what he said. My number 2 is The Fly because Jeff Goldblum, I believe it was the Brundle Fly, if I'm not mistaken, was he sold me on somebody being smart. And he made me convinced that we could make teleporters and that some weird freak accident would happen with a fly because he doesn't know how to have that little strip that hangs from the top with the fly would land on that. Because
a fly swatter would have solved everything.
A fly swatter would have solved everything. Because if I'm going to make a transporter, I know now to make sure my house is bug free. Because I don't want to be spliced with nothing. But he sold me.
Think about it. What if there was dust
He might have been. It might have been called the dust.
The dust.
He might have got out of the transporter and been like, I just can't get this stuff off my arms. It's just all a part of me. I'm becoming this big hairball type deal. But but what he does is that he sells you on the the metamorphosis. The metamorphosis. I can say words too. The metamorphosis of him becoming a very intelligent scientist to this grotesque thing that is only moved by mating and becoming one with the woman that he loved. I mean, that was a great film. Like I said, this is a movie that can't be remade. Even though technology is way better with effects, this movie still can't be remade because this movie was done perfectly the first time. And he did a great job, and nobody else could have been in that role.
I think this movie, if anybody ever thought about redoing this movie, I'd slap them in the face.
Exactly.
It doesn't deserve.
We would say the same thing about RoboCop, but they did that anyway.
Let's forget about that. That's a movie I cannot defend.
I don't hate that movie. Number one is going to be ID4. Not Resurgence, the first Independence Day. You know why? Because we were going to talk about chemistry, and the chemistry between him and Will Smith, amazing. Absolutely amazing. We had cool, slick brother, which I kind of sometimes get on when movies do that. But Will Smith
outshined him in every scene. That's my problem.
I disagree.
He became a side character.
Cable company.
Can all cable repairmen do that? Yes, Father. All the cable repairmen can do that.
When they have the intelligence of Jeff Goldblum, they can do it. They can save the world. So next time you complain to your cable company, remember, when we get attacked by aliens, that's going to be the person that saved you.
It could be the person that
make sure that you wait all day long.
Here's my problem. Jeff Goldblum, and this is why he was in my top number one, in this movie. Will Smith just outshined him in every scene. It
did not. No, Will Smith was the more charismatic person. He was unfortunately.
Therefore, he outshined him.
Jeff Goldblum. Look, there is always a comedic person. There's always a straight man. He was the straight man of this film, even though he still had his comedic moments when he was. Hey, you always talking about how you want me to save the world?
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Made you laugh. And that's why that
really did not make me laugh. You made me laugh, not him. And we all know you're not that smooth black guy either.
So that is my top five, and that's our top five.
What about honorable mentions?
We're moving on to honorable mentions. Who do you have for honorable mentions?
Earth Girls are easy.
Scrappy Gaming! Earth Girls are easy! That's amazing, sir. That is so amazing.
Yes, but he didn't carry the movie. It showed a different side. It showed a different side of him. It was one of the aliens. It showed a different side of him, and a younger side. But ultimately, he didn't carry the movie. In all the other movies, I felt he at least had a bigger role where he carried the movie, and that's how I chose Jeff Goldblum. Not so much by box office and what sold the most tickets.
You know why they sold the most tickets? Because these were better movies, man. These are better movies. You want to talk about what my honorable mentions are? None. Because these are the only films that Jeff Goldblum should ever be given credit for. I don't have any honorable mentions. Because you know what? I looked at his top five, and honestly, these were my five favorite Jeff Goldblum movies. Everything else, like you said, it was like he was either a bit player in the movie, and the movie didn't really revolve around him, or it was a bad movie.
It was just a bad movie. Well, Independence Resurgence, I liked it because he picked up. I mean, and it's difficult to do that when there's so much time in between movies. And for him to be able to pick up the same character.
Because he plays the same character in like all his movies. Oh my God, it's so hard for me to play the same exact character I already played.
Even in my commercials.
There you go. All right, so normally Manny at this particular point would go, Terrence, take us home. So I will do it for myself because I don't want to put that on Art right now.
I'll do it.
Would you really like to do that, Art? Okay, come on, Art. Please, tell our fans.
Terrence, take it home.
There you go. So As always, obviously we all know that you guys are fans of Jeff Goldblum. Make sure you put your top 5 list in the comments below. But make sure you like and subscribe so that way you know about all the other top 5 videos that we do, as well as the podcast, as well as Rule of 2, as well as You Don't Hate, because eventually we're going to get to You Don't Hate Independence Resurgence.
I would like to say, please comment. Please comment.
Please comment.
Even just say a little something. Just say whatever you want. Please comment. It really does help. And it lets us know. Well, lets them know. I'm including myself.
Honorary 4th member.
Well, no, you said I'm officially the 4th member. You can't take it back. We have
officially
it documented.
The 4th member.
We have it documented, folks.
Officially the 4th member of the Goods. But yeah, make sure you guys comment, because 1, I do respond to every comment that we get out there, but also 2, it lets us know that you guys are responding to what we actually do in these particular videos, whether it's top 5 or any of the other.
And what you'd like to know. I mean, that really makes a difference.
Make sure you guys suggest some of our top 5s, because sometimes we're trying to think about what you guys might actually find interesting, as far as or what you guys would be a debatable topic for top 5. So, as always, for Aspen over in the side somewhere, because she's not in the back right now. From Aspen in the side right there.
Wait.
For Archie Cherries filling in for Manny at home, and for me sitting over here on the sidelines. Take it easy, guys.
Bye. Like
they have face. Have you not? Wait. By the way, hold up. This is the only thing they got right. Have you not watched the Transformers episode? They never hit anything in the Transformers.
I understand why in the cartoons you couldn't, because I mean it was 1980s and you couldn't kill anybody on. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
This is a man who sat through all the Star Wars films where the stormtroopers miss people left and right, where they could run down a hallway avoiding laser blasts because none of the stormtroopers could shoot right.
In fact, the